Hi, everybody. I'm Jenny Wolf from the Cambodian Institute of Directors, and welcome to our very short video with our cybersecurity expert, Dr. Malcolm Shore. Dr. Shore is actually a UN cyber diplomat and a partner in the Global Forum in Cyber Expertise. Is that right, Dr. Shore? Am I saying that correctly? He's a technical director of Code One in Australia and is a trainer in LinkedIn Learning. He's got just a wealth of information, a really rich history in this important area. So I'm going to get right down to it. Dr. Shore, thank you for being with us today. Can you tell us why is cybersecurity so relevant for boards of directors and C-suite individuals?
So we've seen a number of issues around cybersecurity over the years, and those issues have increased and not decreased, even though we've been putting in more and more cybersecurity programs and cybersecurity technologies. The governments around the world have started to, in particular, focus on their critical infrastructure, which often is put out to private industry to run, but under the governance of the government itself. And the legislation that's now emerging for critical infrastructure and for government departments is being increasingly focused on director responsibilities and accountabilities for managing cybersecurity effectively within the business. We're seeing an increasing number of cases where directors are being personally held accountable for not having sufficient cybersecurity programs in place to avoid data leakage, avoid data breaches, or avoid intrusions into their systems. So directors are becoming more legally accountable, more responsible for ensuring adequate governance arrangements over cybersecurity. And that really brings cybersecurity into focus for the board and for the directors personally.
So how should members of the board actually interface with cybersecurity? I mean, is this something that they just need to assume the management has control of, or do they need to actually get into the nitty-gritty and know what's going on beneath the surface?
So for the governance arrangements from the board, cybersecurity, really the touch points for cybersecurity are in the executive is the allocation of cybersecurity responsibilities and the allocation of risk appetite for cybersecurity threats being articulated such that the CISO can understand how much the business is prepared to accept and what's needed to mitigate to board appetite for cybersecurity, and to have a process of reporting that back to the executive. Now, that's an executive level management level cycle of governance, but that needs to be also complemented with reporting through the Audit and Risk Committee so that the board is aware of the state of cybersecurity risks. And what's being required by the legislation for directors is not that they stop all breaches, but that they have due diligence, that they have visibility down to the activities of cybersecurity in the business. One of the things that is useful is perhaps having reporting at the board level from the CISO on cybersecurity, both to give the board not performance of cybersecurity in the business, but also to help the board directors build their own capability and competence up in understanding cybersecurity.
So suppose the worst happens and there is a major breach or a minor breach. Should the board get involved, or should they step back, be hands off?
So I think what we've seen through a number of cases particularly of recent times, is that a cybersecurity incident will be potentially expensive for the business. It will potentially have a lot of cost in terms of recovery of the systems, in terms of payment of fines, of replacing things like credit cards for customers if they've breached credit information. Those costs can be minimized by good communications on the incident, and good preparation of incident response, of course. But communicating the incident at a senior level, at the chair or the CEO, and being able to front up to the media, be confident, be honest, and be able to let the stakeholders who have been impacted by the incident understand that the business is in control and is doing everything to recover the problem and to take care of the issues that the users, the victims of the incident, the customers of the business might have. That goes a long way to helping minimize the damage, and it goes a long way to, again, at a personal level, ensuring that there isn't any subsequent issue of directors or executives being moved on because they were seen to not perform in the communication in the incident space.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And also, I guess, we're also looking, in addition to everything you just said, reputational management. So that is critical to the future well-being of the company. Dr. Shore, thank you very much for joining us. For those of you who weren't with us today for our lunchtime Lunch and Learn webinar, Dr. Shore gave a very comprehensive overview of this. And so we hope that you will join us for future webinars on this and other topics. You can feel free to contact us through our website, CambodianIOD.com, or find us on Facebook or LinkedIn and message us directly. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks again, Dr. Shore.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jenny Wolf with the Cambodian Institute of Directors. Welcome. We've just finished a wonderful Lunch and Learn webinar in our series of webinars with Dr. Malcolm Shore, who's a cybersecurity expert from New Zealand. He's currently talking to us from Melbourne in Australia. Welcome, Dr. Shore. We've spent some time earlier in the webinar talking about cybersecurity. Now, we all know about artificial intelligence, whether we use it extensively in our work or our play. And we read a lot about breaches and are they going to take AI going to take over the world? You're the expert on this. Tell me, how mature is this technology? Is it what's the hype? Is it hype, or is there truth there?
So artificial intelligence is getting a lot of limelight at the moment. There's a lot of noise about artificial intelligence. Every day we're hearing yet another acronym come out. We're seeing yet another artificial intelligence model come out. There's yet another way of using it. And we're being inundated with a lot of information and a lot of excitement about artificial intelligence. It's useful to take a step back and say, well, what does all this mean? And for users, business users of artificial intelligence, it's a nightmare. For technically capable, competent professionals, it's hard to even keep track of what's going on. One of the best ways to kind of look at the picture of artificial intelligence is to reflect back on a model that's used by Gartner called the hype cycle, which indicates that any technology that's introduced that's a disruptive technology will go through a period of real kind of climbing excitement. Everybody will be excited about it. It will be able to do everything. It will solve all the problems we've got. But then we start to understand that maybe it's not, maybe it's just a technology that we need to harness. And people get disillusioned, and the use of the technology kind of drops back through a disillusionment phase to a phase of actually using what we can use effectively and getting productivity out of it. Most of what we have in AI at the moment, in what we're seeing as generative AI, chat GPT, Copilot, is still on the hype cycle. It's still oversold, overblown in capability, and the claims of what it will do are wild. An example of that is we don't need programmers anymore. AI will do all the coding for us. In fact, AI won't do all the coding for us. It will help programmers become more productive, but it's an assistant for a programmer, not a replacement for a programmer. And so what we're seeing is it is hype. There's a lot of hype. There are some useful things coming out. One of the problems is following the hype is meaning that 80% of what we do is not working the way we expect it to. So we still need to kind of bring it back down to a little bit less lower temperature conversation, not a boiling hot conversation, which it is at the moment.
So maybe when we get over the new shiny thing, then we're back down to a little bit of dose of reality, yeah?
I can start using it properly.
So, but we hear about AI making mistakes. You know, people really rely on AI in their day-to-day work sometimes. And I've heard you actually refer to AI hallucinations. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, yes. So we think about technology and computers as being these great things that are so accurate and so incredible at giving us the answers that AI seems to be the same thing. You can ask it a question and it gives you an answer, and it comes from a computer, so it's got to be right, right? Because
Exactly.
that's what we know computers do.
Right.
But AI is different. AI isn't picking up information from a database that is accurate and giving us an accurate answer. AI is a technology that is built by using information and training the AI model to understand that information, or to not understand it, but to encode it in its own sets of numbers, so that when we ask a question, it can say, well, that's kind of like what I heard before, and this is what the answer is. But if what it heard before was wrong, then the answer's wrong. And if it says that's like what I heard before, but actually it kind of put it into the wrong place, and it's kind of like this, but it isn't that, then it hallucinates, because it gives us an answer to not the question we asked, but to something that's similar but not quite the same as the question we asked. So we really need to stop thinking of AI as an accurate way of retrieving information from a computer. That's a database and a database search. What AI is a language model that can interpret what we say. And just like anyone else, you might get in the business and say, hey, I'll teach you all this. Now you go off and do this for me. It makes mistakes like people make mistakes. AI is not a perfect solution. And a lot of the new developments and new emerging developments of AI is trying to use traditional computer techniques like databases and what's called knowledge graphs to take actual information and use that to drive the answers to questions, rather than using what's been trained to the AI.
So is AI security the same as just general cybersecurity, or is this a special niche expertise?
So AI models are applications that run on top of computer operating systems. So just like a web server or a database server, you have an AI server. Therefore, all the same cybersecurity issues are present in the AI model. In addition, there are some things that are particularly important for AI models, such as its test data, that if someone manipulates that, changes it, like changing a database, they can seriously affect how the AI model works. So it's a cybersecurity attack like any other cybersecurity attack, but it's got particular relevance to AI. On top of that, AI then has another layer of security, which is not traditional security. It's kind of the responsible and safe use. It's not what happens to the AI model from an external attack. It's the bad things that the AI model can do to your business by
Mm,
misbehaving. And misbehaving in this context is actually making a mistake in its operations, but it's actually like misbehaving like children misbehave. It's we're dealing with something that is a little bit like a child,
that's very young, yeah.
and it and it can produce content that really you don't say that kind of thing. It's not nice saying that. So you don't want something that comes out with racial comments or gender inappropriate comments. But AI models can do that if the training data that's gone in there has got that.
Yes, sir.
So there are special issues that need to be addressed, and there are guardrails that you need to put in place to stop that. And then on top of that, there are some very specific cybersecurity attacks which are specific to AI models, which can cause a traditional takeover of an organization. And they're just like specific web attacks for a web server. So it's a combination of traditional cybersecurity attacks, but also the safe and responsible use of AI.
Thank you. Dr. Shore, thank you very much for your time today, both for our webinar and for these short videos or little nuggets of information for people who weren't able to join us today. In the future, if you would like to join us for our Lunch and Learn series, webinars on a wide variety of topics, get in touch with us. You can contact us either on Facebook, the Cambodian Institute of Directors, or on LinkedIn, and we'll get back to you with all of the information. And we'd love to have you join us. And again, Dr. Shore, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate your time, your expertise on these two really important topics today, cybersecurity and AI.
Thank you for your giving me the opportunity to join you and for the opportunity to continue being part of the Institute's program.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Malcolm. Thank you for all your time. That's very generous of you.
Okay.